My name is David, and for most of my life, nothing strange ever happened to me. No ghosts, no monsters, no unexplained moments. But everything changed the night I discovered a room inside my own house, a room that wasn't supposed to exist. It started when I moved into an old rental home on the edge of town. The place was cheap, silent, and a little dusty, but it felt safe enough. 3 bedrooms, 1 kitchen, 1 hallway. Simple layout, nothing unusual. On my first night, as I walked down the hallway, I counted the doors. 1 to the bathroom, 1 to my bedroom, 1 to the storage closet. But at the end of the hallway, directly across from me, I noticed something strange, a small, faint outline on the wall. It looked almost like a door frame that had been painted over. I ignored it. Later that night, while trying to sleep, I heard something soft, a knocking sound, very slow, very steady. 3 knocks, a pause, 3 more knocks, coming from the hallway. I stepped outside my room and froze. The painted-over wall, the one with the faint door frame, was vibrating gently with each knock. Something was knocking from the other side. I told myself it was in my head, maybe the pipes, maybe animals in the walls. I went back to bed and forced myself to sleep. The next morning, the hallway felt colder, and the outline on the wall looked sharper, almost like the shape of a real door. That night, the knocking returned, louder this time. 3 knocks, pause, 3 more knocks. But this time, something new happened. A whisper. A soft, slow whisper coming from the sealed space. "Let me out." My blood froze. I backed away step by step until I reached my bedroom and slammed the door shut. The whisper came again, clearer this time. "David, open the door." My name. It said my name. I didn't sleep a single minute. The next morning, the outline had changed. The painted wall now had a doorknob-shaped bulge beneath the paint, as if the handle was pushing outward. I called the landlord. He sounded nervous when I described the wall. He said, "There is no room there. Do not try to open it. Not again." Not again? I asked him what he meant, but he hung up immediately. That night, at exactly 2:13 a.m., I heard the loudest knock yet. The walls shook so hard the picture frames rattled. Then the whisper returned, no longer soft, no longer calm. This time it sounded angry, desperate, starving. "Open the door." My heartbeat hammered in my ears. I grabbed my phone's flashlight and stepped into the hallway. The painted wall was cracking. Hairline fractures crawled across the surface like spiderwebs. The bulge of the doorknob was now completely defined. Then slowly, silently, the painted-over door opened by itself. A cold black void stood on the other side. No walls, no light, just endless darkness that felt alive, like it was breathing. I stepped back. The darkness moved forward. Not fast, just curious, almost playful. Something inside spoke. "You've already opened it. Now you can't close it." I ran. I didn't grab clothes, bags, anything. I ran out of the house barefoot and didn't stop until I reached the gas station 2 blocks away. The cashier asked if I was okay. Before I could answer, something caught my eye through the gas station's glass doors. Across the street, in the window of my rental house, a black, human-shaped silhouette stood behind the glass, perfectly still, perfectly silent, watching me. I called the police. They checked the house. They said no door existed where I claimed it did. They said the wall I had seen was solid brick. They said there was no sign of forced entry. They didn't believe me. But when I checked my phone later, I found a recording playing. I must have hit the voice recorder while running. In the recording, right before the moment I escaped, a voice whispered behind me, "Don't run, David. You opened the room. Now the room opens for you." I never went back to that house. But sometimes, late at night, my phone buzzes with a notification. Unknown Bluetooth device nearby. Room 04. And I know, wherever I move, the room that doesn't exist is still trying to find me.
My name is Kevin, and until last month, elevators never scared me. I used them every day without thinking. Up, down, doors open, doors close. Simple. But everything changed the night the elevator in my building took me to a floor that shouldn't exist. I live in a 12-story apartment complex. My unit is on the 7th floor. I've taken the same elevator hundreds of times. Nothing unusual ever happened until one Friday night at 11:47 p.m. I had just returned from work, tired and hungry. I pressed the elevator button and stepped inside. The lights flickered once, but they always flickered, so I didn't think much of it. I pressed 7, the doors closed. Then the elevator didn't move. Instead, the lights dimmed, the fans shut off, and the small display above the door where the floor numbers appear went completely black. I tapped the 7 button again. Nothing. I pressed open door. Nothing. The elevator felt suddenly smaller, like the walls were inching closer. Then, without warning, the display flickered back on. But instead of showing 1 or 2, it showed 13. There was no 13th floor in my building. My stomach twisted. The elevator jerked violently upward. The lights turned red. Not orange, not warm, but a sick, pulsing red that made the metal walls look like they were bleeding. When the elevator stopped, the doors slowly slid open. I expected to see a dark hallway or maybe construction work. Instead, I saw a long, silent corridor, covered in old wallpaper peeling from the walls. The floor was carpeted, but the carpet looked damp, like it had soaked up years of water. Every door on the hallway was numbered: 1301, 1302, 1303. Perfectly spaced, perfectly straight, perfectly quiet. I stepped forward slowly, holding my breath. The air felt thick, humid, almost sticky. And the smell, it was the smell of something long dead. My instinct screamed to stay inside the elevator, but something in that hallway tugged at me, not physically, but mentally, like an invisible hand around my thoughts. I took one step into the hallway. The elevator doors snapped shut behind me. The sound echoed through the corridor like a gunshot. I spun around and pressed the elevator button repeatedly, but it didn't light up. The elevator hum was gone. It was as silent as a grave. I walked down the hallway carefully. At door 1305, I heard it. A faint scratching sound from inside the room. Scratch, scratch, scratch. I backed away immediately. Then the scratching stopped, and a soft voice whispered from inside the room. "Kevin, is that you?" My heart nearly stopped. I didn't recognize the voice. Nobody should have known my name. I stepped back slowly. The hallway lights flickered. The air grew colder. Every instinct screamed run. But before I could move, the door of room 1305 began to open. Slowly, painfully, like it hadn't been touched in years. A hand slid out. Thin, gray, wrong. It wasn't reaching for the door. It was reaching for me. I ran. I sprinted down the hallway, passing door after door, 1306, 1307, 1308, until I saw something that made me skid to a stop. A second elevator. Same design, same doors, but above the doors, instead of numbers, the display showed basement -4. I slammed the button. The doors opened instantly. Inside, the elevator looked normal. Bright lights, clean walls, no red glow. But as soon as I stepped inside, the air turned icy cold. The doors began closing. From the hallway behind me, I heard rapid footsteps, too fast to be human. Something was running toward the elevator. I didn't turn around. I just pressed the closed door button again and again. The footsteps got closer. Then the voice, right outside the door, whispered, "Kevin, don't leave me on this floor again." Again? The door slammed shut. The elevator dropped so fast I nearly lost my balance. The lights flickered violently. Then everything went dark. When the doors finally opened, I was back on the ground floor. The security guard stared at me like he'd seen a ghost. He said, "You look like you came back from the dead. What happened?" I asked him one question. "Is there a 13th floor?" He shook his head. "There never was, never will be." I took the stairs to my room that night. Now here's the strange part. Every day since then, at 11:47 p.m., the elevator in my building goes up by itself, stops at an empty floor, and the display flashes 13, like it's waiting for me to come back.